Hello?
Marshall, where the heck are you?
Let's just say I got lost. Give me a second. I'm finally here. Where was that again?
Marco, what happens in Vegas?
I mean, what doesn't happen in Vegas? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would say Vegas is a world of wonders and discoveries and the most random things ever. And, you know, to be born and raised here, I respect it.
Nice.
I respect it.
When did you get a sense of what Las Vegas is?
I got a sense of Las Vegas when my mom came into my room and told me, hey, your dad just won the lottery and I have to go claim it. So we gotta go. And I was like, okay. And my dad hit the lotto back when I was a child. And that to me was Vegas. That to me spoke, this really happens in this city.
Wow. How old were you again?
Honestly, I think I was like 7 or 8 years old. And the fact that my mom even spoke to me like an adult in a way, it was like, it made me feel like, okay, like things are quick in this city and that's just how it works. And that was kind of my mindset moving forward, where it was like, you don't know what's gonna happen here.
I see. So how do you like living here? You said you were born here, right?
Born and raised.
Yeah.
Born and raised. I was born in 95.
How do you like living here?
To be honest with you, I always say that I want to get out of here and I want to go experience other cities. But the reality of it is, I love Vegas. I respect Vegas a ton. But the heat, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. There's no way. I'm a sweaty guy. It's just, the heat is really, like, if Vegas just had really good weather, I wouldn't leave. But because of that reason, I have to leave.
It's just the heat then.
It's just the heat.
Okay.
Everything else with Vegas, I'm totally fine with. The nightlife, the schools, the everything that's getting added to it, like, I really don't have a problem with it. I really don't have an issue with it. But at the end of the day, it's probably gonna get super expensive, and the people that actually are locals and live here and didn't just move because, oh, let me buy a house out there, or like it's looking better out there, or so much is gonna build, or, you know, whatever the case is, the real Vegas people, they're probably just gonna get out of here.
I see. Yeah, someone was told me, I've only been here for a couple of years, and someone, that's one of the things he said is like, you just never get used to the heat.
No.
I mean, last week was 120, over 120.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, besides that, is there anything else that you don't like about the city, or?
Don't like about the city?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think there's really anything else I don't necessarily like about the city. Like, Vegas is great, and I just wish that people understood that it's not just a strip. You know what I mean? Like, Vegas is town square. Vegas is the arts district. Vegas is downtown Fremont. Vegas is Green Valley Hotel or Ranch or whatever the case is over there. There's so much more to Vegas than what people just kind of see as like, oh, this is like the sightseeing of Vegas or whatever the case is. Like, honestly, like, I think it's like anywhere else that they call it some sort of a strip or they have some sort of a name for it. But in the reality of it, that's not where you actually get the realness of Vegas. You know, like any other city where it's like this main part, that's all people know. It's just, that's not what it is.
Do you get to do you meet tourists that come to?
Honestly, in Vegas, you meet tourists, you meet locals, you meet people that for some reason they're just here for like a day, and you meet all types of people in Vegas. I feel like, I don't know if it's the heat, I don't know what it is, but when you come to Vegas, it's like you really want to say who you really are, and like the persona of whatever, where you're at, whatever the case is, that goes completely out the window. I'm going to be real. This is who I am. I'm speaking. I don't know if it's the drinks. I don't know if it's the nightlife. I don't know what it is, but when you come to Vegas, you want to be real.
I see. Well, people come here to have a good time, so it feels natural. What do you like to do for fun then? Where do you usually go?
Specifically in Vegas?
Yeah.
Honestly, for me lately, it's been the Arts District. Any type of bar, any type of restaurant in the Arts District, that's kind of always the move. I really like where I live now. I really like to go to Town Square and kind of discover that. Believe it or not, I want to stay away from the Strip as much as I can. There's only one place I really want to experience on the Strip, and that's Brewdog. And it's like a rooftop, like, beer bar. I don't know what the case is. And that's really the only place. Other than that, at a younger age, I used to walk all of the Strip with my cousins and family. And I know it like the back of my hand. And I just don't. It's not. No, because honestly, like, tourists, like, they don't really know how to act, and I don't blame them. You come here to have fun, you know what I mean. You come here to have fun. You come here to do stuff that you would have never done wherever you live or whatever the case is. And sometimes, like, regardless of all of that, any local in Vegas is not going. Can I cuss on here?
Yeah, of course.
Is not gonna give a fuck about what you decided to do out here or you're trying to hide or whatever the case is. Nobody gives a fuck about that. Have a good time, have fun. That is your own thing to deal with. That has nothing to do with anybody else involved or just trying to have fun. Like, yeah. No one cares. Yeah. You know what I mean? No one cares. Even if you have a deep conversation with somebody, it's like they're gonna be there for you or they're gonna talk to you, but at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to have to deal with whatever you've decided to do and whatever you've decided to make out of this experience.
But Las Vegas exists because of, they call it Sin City for a reason. And, all the tourists, I'm guessing that come here, they can do what they do here where they are. So essentially they go all out, because there is no place like Las Vegas. They can gamble, they can,
and you know what? That's something that I've realized when I've traveled, right? I've gone in the country, out of the country, and there really is no place like the city of sins. The city of Sin City. like I just as an example, I went to recently I went to Dallas, Texas for a filming gig, I guess you could say. And it was like, I don't know, it was like 1 o'clock, 1:30, 1 a.m., you know what I mean? And out of nowhere, I hear like, oh, last call. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, that doesn't exist in Vegas. If you go to the right spots, that doesn't exist. So, growing up and having, I mean, I don't even know if I should say this on camera, but having a fake ID, going out into the bars, going to these specific clubs, it just never shuts down. And being like as an adult now, going to, I was specifically in Dallas, Texas. I was like, what do you mean last call? You know what I mean? It's the Sin City. It's Las Vegas talking where it's like, what are you talking about? There's got to be a place that we can go to after 2 a.m. When in Vegas, really, you're trying to find places to go to at any hour and you're going to find it. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like people come here to make whatever mistakes, to make whatever decisions, because Vegas gives you time. There's no time limit. It's a 24-hour city. So in other places, you're like, oh my God, it's last call. I have to go home and I have to go deal with whatever I have there. Vegas is like, no, you can continue. And after that, you can continue. And then somehow, I mean, it's just been like a full day. And you know what? I don't know if that's what Vegas wanted from the get-go. I don't know if that's what Vegas thought about when it came to downtown, the Strip, like really just having, whatever the case is, I don't think it's wrong. I feel like if this is where you need to come to be your true self or whatever the case is, then, I mean, really, you decided not to go to Disneyland because Vegas at this point is a little bit cheaper than Disneyland. Disneyland is so expensive. Like Disneyland, like at this point, I'm not surprised if we check right now that it's like $200 a person. That's not a child. And I mean, I don't know what rep Vegas decided to get, but they're doing a good job.
Oh, yeah. So what is the craziest thing you've witnessed a night out or
In Vegas?
yeah.
I was told by my lawyer that I cannot disclose this information. So we're going to have to pass on that question because I mean, you have to come to Vegas to know what I'm talking about. It's just nuts.
Okay, can you give me a little hint, a little like taste
Of what happened?
Yeah.
Okay,
Is that something that happened with you or you saw?
Oh no, it was me.
Oh, okay.
You want a little taste. You want a little something. Something I remember vividly. And I don't know if this is the craziest thing, but this is the first one that comes to mind. I had been invited to like I guess you could say it was like a festival rave. It was like in the downtown Las Vegas event center, if I'm thinking about it correctly. And I, being born and raised, I parked where I knew it was gonna be the cheapest parking for the night, right? Vegas isn't like LA or California where everything charges you like you're gonna pay for parking. Now it is. This time it was like before COVID. I feel like after COVID they finally started to charge people or whatever the case was. Before COVID times. So I park underground of this place where I used to go to the movie theaters. And now it's like Bar Central. It's like a bunch of just random stuff. So I parked there because, again, cheapest parking. I'm kind of broke at this time. And I just need to get to this event. So I'm walking, and I'm walking out of the parking structure, leads into like a Denny's, and I'm just kind of standing there because there's so many people on like downtown Fremont, right? And out of nowhere, I don't know if he was homeless. I don't know what the vibes were. Like you don't know in Vegas. Sometimes it's like, what's going on? And this man just decided to start pissing. Like, I'm talking about in the middle of, like, everyone is, like, walking back and forth, whatever the case is. He just whips it out. I mean, pisses on downtown Fremont. And I'm paying attention to him. And then out of nowhere, I look in a different direction. And, like, this female is like, oh, my God, what the fuck? Right? Like, looking at him. And the guy, I don't know if it was a date. I don't know, like, what I'm eavesdropping without trying. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, babe, like, that just happens. And the girl's like shocked. You know what I mean? And then it was funny because then I just walked past that. It's like this whole situation going on. I walked past that. Downtown Fremont just has like so many things like going on, and I'm just kind of like, did that really happen? Did it not? Like, Vegas is that type of city where you have to question, like, did that actually happen? Like, was there no cops around? Was there like what? Like, just vividly remembering. And I think that's the craziest thing. I ended up going to the downtown, like, Las Vegas event center, and I was trying to tell people about my experience, and they were like, they just took it as, I mean, it's Vegas, right? So why did that shock you so much? And I was like, it necessarily didn't shock me. I think it was more of like the reaction of like the group of people that I just, you know,
their reaction.
Yeah. More than anything, it was like their reaction, and that has probably been the craziest thing I've seen in Vegas. All that fun stuff. To give you like a brief little overview of like who I am. My name is Marco. I am 28. I have been told that I look younger than my age every time. I work for a nonprofit organization that really supports students at all levels: elementary, middle, high school. But on top of that, that's like my regular job, I guess, is the best way I could see it. On top of that, I do have my own side business. I am the owner and creator of MA Dance Productions, and I am a quince choreographer. And if you guys don't know what quinces are, pretty much it's a symbolization of little girls turning into women, and they have this like dance, and it's usually like a waltz and a surprise dance, and I'm in charge of choreographing that. So
that's pretty interesting. How long have you been doing it, and what made you get into it?
So I've been doing it since, I want to say, 2016. And believe it or not, give me a second.
Go ahead.
Believe it or not, I had this job where I would go to different middle schools and high schools and kind of just like mentor students. And one of the students in particular at this middle school she was just kind of talking to me. Apparently, she didn't really get along with like a lot of the adults or a lot of the students. And I'm like, all right, I don't really know why they told me that information, but she didn't get along, and she would just talk to me, and it was just like regular conversation. And I think I was just kind of like, well, she talks to me, so I don't really understand like why. I don't know what you guys are saying about this student, right? So she ends up bringing up that, she's gonna have a quince, she needs a choreographer, and for some odd reason, I said, because I had done 115 at that point. It was only the quinceañera and her main chambelán, and it was like a vecindad like type of quinceañera that you see on like La Rosa de Guadalupe or like some sort of like novelas, right? So I did that. It wasn't my best project by any means, but I did it, and that right there was kind of like I can do this. So I told her that I'm a quince choreographer, just why not? And I didn't think anything of it. I literally was like, I'm gonna say this is just to continue the conversation. There's no way her parents are gonna call me or none of that. Surprisingly, the parents called me. They're like on the phone with me, like, "Hey, we, my daughter said you're like a choreographer. You work at her, you work at her school or her old school," and I'm kind of sitting there like, "What?" Like, I'm a little confused because again, sometimes when you have students, you just carry on that conversation. You don't even remember like what you said. You just were trying to have a conversation with the student and trying to get them to talk, open up, and that has to do with like my regular job, right? So I'm just sitting there. It finally clicks, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a choreographer, blah blah blah, whatever. So they hire me, and it's funny because I still talk to this specific, the quinceañera. I still talk to her till this day. She is like a college graduate now. I have her on social media, and pretty much it was my first real quinceañera project. And I think, in my eyes, I think it was amazing. Maybe in other people's eyes, it wasn't what it needed to be. But for me, just kind of that being my first project, it was very like special to me. And it really just kind of showed me that what really matters in life is different experiences and experiences that you can actually go through together. So because of that, I continued to do it. I did her best friend's quinceañera. There was a venue that decided to hire me and was like, I need you to take care of these clients. And, I just really did it. And where I started to take the business seriously was after COVID times, and it was during like 2021. And I was going through a breakup, and it kind of made, I don't know what people go through, but I feel like when you go through a breakup, you realize like so much time has been invested in this relationship and this person that you're not invested in things on your, by yourself on your own. So I decided to get back into that as a distraction, because you go through it. And from there, it got serious. There was contracts involved now. There was consultations. There was emails. There was a possibility of me hiring an assistant. And that's really how MA Dance Productions started.
Okay.
And
So a happy accident.
pretty much.
So
When I take on a project, first and foremost, I need the parents to be happy because they pay me. But secondly, I want the quinceañera to be happy. I want her to have creative say in what she is doing and what this means to her. Like sometimes I'll get quinceañeras that, it's some random song. And I'm like, what does this mean to you? How would you look at this song? All that. And sometimes they'll be like, oh, I just chose it because something had to be chosen. And I'm not a fan of those clients. But again, if the parents are going to pay me, I can work with it. But a lot of the times, quinceañeras tell me, like, I love this song. It makes me feel different. It makes me, it makes me happy. It makes me feel like I'm actually expressing myself. And I'm all for that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, quinceañeras have evolved a lot. But at the end of the day, it's about showing who you are, what you represent, what your family means to you. And it just means a lot because I had a quinceañera, which is really a quinceañero because I'm a guy. And although I didn't get the full creative part of it, there was a lot that I can look back at and be like, I chose that. I did that. At the end of the day, having a quinceañero is a big deal. And the way that I felt during this whole experience and event, I want that for other girls or other guys if they decide to hire me. I've never actually had a quinceañero like hire me, you know? And that kind of sucks because I feel like I could do so much with it. But
So let me interrupt. So
yeah.
why? So you chose to have a quinceañero,
hmm
but usually this is not part of the tradition
Tradition, yeah.
for boys.
hmm
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And would you like if this change? Would you like to have a start to? Do
I would, because it shouldn't just be limited to the girls. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, having a quinceañero, like, I think automatically, people are like, oh, well, like, he's gay or whatever. That's not necessarily the point, because I had a friend that had a quinceañero. I mean, he was straight as anyone can be. And I'm talking about, like, at this point, not gonna lie to you, I think he has like 7 kids or something like that. And I feel like it shouldn't matter about being a girl or being a boy. It should matter about, is this what you want? Is this what you want to do? And just like let it happen, I'd like to just see the machismo bullshit or whatever the case is, like, kind of go out the window with that one, because once it does, you realize so many boys, teens, whatever the case is, like, they do want to have that experience. They do want to have like a party, and they shouldn't be judged for that. They shouldn't be looked at any type of different, because at the end of the day, like, what does it matter? You know what I mean? So
they're not hurting anybody, right?
no,
So-
literally. I'm not just I'm not just a choreographer, and
yeah.
I think when it comes to my day job, it really just shows me that it's an interesting age and a confusing time, whether it's like the quinceañera herself or the people in it. And I think that's what really separates me from other choreographers, because they're just focused on the dance. I actually like to get to know them and who they are and what is going on, you know? And it does, however you want to see it, I am with this group of people for a certain amount of time. And that could be from a month, 2 months, possibly 3 months. I mean, it just depends on what they decide to do, how many practices we do, anything of that sort. And, not just with the group, like, I kind of get to know the families if they let me. And I don't know, I just think it's a beautiful thing, and it's probably why I continue to do what I do, and that's just it with it. There was a recent time actually where I had 3 clients back to back to back. So I had a client, their event was April 27th. I had a client where their event was May 11th and then May 17th. So I was practicing them all at the same time on the weekends, and then it fell back to back to back.
And how big do these parties get? Okay.
Some of them, you know what? I will say some of them are huge. Sometimes I walk into them and I'm like, whoa, I didn't expect this. And then sometimes I walk into some where I'm like, oh, I didn't expect it to be this small and intimate. But at the end of the day, it's not my job to judge. It's my job to be there the day of and make sure that this dance goes good, and that just be that. To this day, I can't believe this happened. So there was this 15, and I'm talking about the mom. Like, I asked her, because I like to be honest with my clients. And I asked her, and I was like, do you like just stress about everything, or is this like this specific event? And she was like, no, I just stress about everything. And I was like, cool, now I know. You just do. And so pretty much we have the practices, and then we have a final practice at the venue, like the week of the event or something like that. I show up to this venue practice, and out of nowhere, I'm like getting close to like the group of everybody, and the mom comes up to me and tells me, hey, you're not gonna believe what they told me. And I'm just there like what, the color's wrong or something, you know, you don't think about it. And she tells me, they just told me that they double book and they have to cancel both of us. And I was like, wait, like, what? You know, no, like there's no way that could happen. So we go inside, and we're just kind of in the banquet hall, and out of nowhere, like, I go to the bathroom, and somehow one of the kids tells me, hey, they need you in this room or something. And I just go, I go into the room, and I don't really know what to expect. And I go into the room, and it's like the parents of the quinceañera, like family members that are like out of town. It's like this whole thing. And honestly, I really felt bad for the girl handling it, but also it was like, yo, like, how can you not expect them to be upset? Like, this is a huge thing. Like, I would have rather you serve steak versus chicken. Like, this is like a whole nother thing. And I'm just kind of in there, and I don't really talk because it's not my jurisdiction. Like, I'm a part of the dance, but they brought me in because out of nowhere, the argument or whatever, the back and forth took a whole different turn, and one of the people were like, he literally coached them for like 6-7 weeks. Like, do you think? And I'm just there like, whoa, like I don't have it. Like, I really, like, I'm human, and I feel some type of way about this whole experience, because if it was my 15, like I don't know, that's just a whole different ball game. But I'm just kind of sitting there like, I don't want any part of this. This is like, because and it sucks because I don't want to make it sound like this, but at that point I had already been paid in full. So I'm not too necessarily worried about if this happens or not. It's kind of like, this is crazy. This is crazy. And like, they got like the news to come out. The girl of the venue started to ask me like, do you know any banquet halls that are available for that day? And I was just like, whoa, like she doesn't even know what to do at this point. And I really did feel for her, and I had a conversation with her, and That was probably one of the most craziest things to happen because, spoiler, they found a different place, like the parents, not necessarily like that banquet hall. They found a different place. We got to practice there. You know, they got to have the party there, and it's like nobody else really knew about kind of what happened. But that was the craziest thing to happen because I've never heard of a place double booking a client. That was like, everybody was shocked. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it sounds like you really enjoy your job. How far would you like to take it? I mean, your company.
I would love to have an assistant because there's just certain things, and I don't care what anybody says. There are certain things I don't want to take care of. It's just, that's what it is. I don't want to take care of like getting the clients like signed up or a consultation or what the contract looks like or what the price is. I don't want to. I do all that right now because I'm a one-man show, and that's just what I have to do. But if it came down to me, I wouldn't want to handle any of that. I have an assistant. They take care of that stuff. We're good. I would like my business to get to the point where now I have to hire different people that I've coached throughout the years, and now they're going to be the instructors. I would. But sometimes I like it as a side gig because I enjoy it and I really do love it, and dance is always going to be like one of my number one things. And I don't want to lose that fun and that joy, and sometimes it goes in the direction where, you know, it's a business and you have to handle things, and, you know, whether you like it or not. And to me, it's a hobby. Thankfully, it's a hobby that makes me money, but, you know, I don't depend on that money. I really enjoy what I do, and I don't want to get to the point of this is just business, because that's not why I started it, and that's not how I want to end it. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's something I enjoy, and it's a really good experience on my part to learn, and their part as well. And, you know, I'm blessed to say that I've had more of a positive feedback than negatively. Don't get me wrong, there's been 15s where it's like, I can't wait to just be done with this experience. Like, this is beyond what I get paid, you know? And then there's some 15s where I would love to see them again, even though we're not like practicing or working towards something, where I was able to build that bond with them.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you did mention that you still keep in contact with some.
Yeah, that's one. There's a bunch of others that I do still keep in contact with. A lot of them have me on social media, you know what I mean, type of thing. A lot of them, like somebody, like a younger person is having a quince, and then they're all in it, you know. So I've had different experiences with it, but at the end of the day, it's something that I don't know if I necessarily want to take it to the next step, because then it's no longer fun.
Besides your business, what is your dream in life?
My dream?
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, it sounds crazy, but not necessarily for me, but my dream in life would necessarily be like some sort of like world peace. I do feel like the world is so like fucked up beyond belief, and I don't necessarily think if it's gonna get better. That's one thing. For me, it's gonna sound crazy, but I do want to do reality TV. I would like to, the nonprofit organization that I work for, I'd like to be on like their national side. I really just want to travel. I'm a very simple guy at the end of the day, and I want to travel. I just want to experience life. You know what I mean? The age that I'm at, a lot of people they're getting married, they're having kids, they're buying houses, they're buying properties, and I think that's amazing. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think that's great if that's what you want to do. But necessarily, that's not what I want to do. I want to live in different cities. I want to experience life before I even get to any of those things. Like, I want to kind of live temporarily. You know what I mean? And um that's just what I want to do, and I don't think like I don't have to explain that to anybody. I think I hear it from like my parents a lot, or like certain family members, or like certain friends, and I'm just like, look, I don't give a fuck about none of that. That's cool. I respect it. I support it. I come to the baby showers, I come to the weddings, all of that. But for me, there is just so much left for me to do, and I don't know, I just don't want to feel tied down. I don't want to feel like now I got to think about this whole thing before actually doing what I want to do. And it's kind of crazy to feel that way because I am in my late 20s, and I would have thought that I would have felt jealous of people getting married or having kids, or all this other stuff. And I'm just there like, no, like, that's awesome. That's not what I want to do, and I don't have to explain it to anybody. And I just feel like that's the best advice I can give to the people. You don't have to explain shit to nobody. If it makes sense to you, you do it, you accomplish it, and you give your kudos yourself in the end. And that's just what it is. And
But are you struggling with this? Are you feeling pressure from your family or?
not anymore. I felt a lot of pressure. I feel like in my early 20s, I felt a lot of pressure, like even like in high school before like I like officially came out and stuff like that. And then honestly, I don't know. I can't speak for anybody, but I can speak for myself. And eventually I got to an age where it was just like, I don't really give a fuck about what anybody says. I'm just gonna do what makes me happy, and I really think that's the purpose of life. Do what makes you happy, like no matter what risks, sacrifices that you need to take. Like anybody else, like trying to feed you any of information, like it just, even family wise, it doesn't matter. What makes you happy, and how are you gonna feel fulfilled?
Yeah, was it? Did you struggle with it when, before you came out, and
You know what?
did you get support from your family and stuff like that?
I thought I was gonna struggle a lot, but thankfully I have the experience that my family was there, my friend was there, and I also had like a lot of external family that was there. But you know what? At the end of the day, whether I got the support of them or not, it was just such a relief to decide and make the choice to be myself and accept myself and just move forward with it. So my experience was very positive, but whether, you know, if it came down to it not being that positive experience and it was more of a negative thing, at that point I had accepted myself, and I knew that moving forward I was just going to be happy, and whoever was there to support me and be there for me, like, much love. And if you chose not to, it's not my problem to think about why you didn't, why you weren't there for me. That's not my job.
I see.
That's your choice, and to an extent I have to respect it. And I would have wished that, you know, they were there for me or whatever the case is. But you have to continue on with life, and you have to continue on with just doing what you think is right. And at that point, nothing was gonna stop me from accomplishing my dreams.
Okay.
Support or no support, I was gonna make it happen. And although I did have the support, I made it happen. And I'm proud of myself for how far I've come with just personally, professionally, my side business, my regular job, my ethics, my morals. I've come a very long way. My mental health, my anxiety, my depression, and no one can take that away from me. And not once have I ever thought that somebody could. So it just is what it is.
Do you think it's harder for Hispanic people to come out versus other cultures?
I think it's hard for anyone to come out unless you are or identify as Caucasian. I feel like it's hard because at that point, you're not just a minority, you're a double minority. And you don't know what people will say, what people will do. I don't want to, I'm very brave, but at the end of the day, it's a scary world because I can literally get into trouble because of not necessarily the choices I've made, but who I am and who I decide to love. And you know what I mean? It's a scary world out there, and I have to think about that daily. But at the end of the day, that's where my faith comes into play. And I just have to, I don't know, I just have to remind myself, like, people may see me a certain way, but I know that I'm a good person deep down, and I just have to roll with that. And I can't be scared of the world or who decides to come at me or whatever the case is. Like,
how does that make you feel?
what exactly?
That you could get in trouble because who you are? Is,
I think, honestly, it's stupid as fuck because I don't understand where me being myself or me loving whoever I choose to love, I don't understand where it really affects anybody. I don't think people in the LGBT just decide to put things in people's faces or none of that. Like, I'm living the same way as you are. It's just, it's not a fucking woman. It's gonna be a guy, and I stand on that. Sometimes, I haven't tried to think about it too much, but it sucks. It sucks because, I'm no different. I have to work and survive and do all that other stuff the same way that anybody else has to do. And if I'm not judging anybody on their lifestyle or who they decide to love or anything like that, I don't understand where I'm intimidating. But
and why do you think people make it their business? Well, exactly what you just said. You don't get into their business. Why do you think people have the right or feel like they can get into your business?
Because they don't have, a lot of the times, I feel like they don't have anything better to do. Because if you were so focused on yourself and everything like that, you wouldn't really think about anybody's like that or be bothered. And I stand on that. Like, if you're really gonna be focused on another person and how they decide to live their life, you're not focused on how you live yours. Because if they're not bothering you, you're finding a way to create this image in your head of them bothering you. And it's like, I promise you, like, the same way that I've been very, like, nonchalant throughout this entire thing, like, I just don't care about other people, like what people decide to do or whatever. At the end of the day, if you don't come at me any disrespectful way or anything like that, there's no care for it. And, you know, a lot of the times it could be like, I feel like a lot of the times, and I don't know how this is going to come off, but I really don't give a fuck. A lot of the times when people are upset or homophobic or whatever the case is, I feel like they haven't dealt with what they need to deal with internally, and that's not my fucking problem. And that's not the LGBT's problem. Like, for us to suffer or for one of us to, you know, be shot or whatever the case is, I don't understand where that became our problem, where you internally, you need to focus on yourself and you need to deal with those demons the same way that every single person in the LGBTQA plus community has done it. That's not my problem, and I'm not going to make it my problem, and it's fucked up on your part to even try to make it somebody else's problem or portray it on someone else. And that's, you know, I'm very blunt and I'm very honest, and, you know, when I say I stand on that, I stand on that. And at the end of the day, like, the world wouldn't be such a shitty place if you just let people be who they are and love who they want to, the same way that we don't give a fuck that you're in love with the most generic, like, person in the fucking, I mean, it's just like, I don't care, but that's what you chose, and why would I even make that my business?
Yeah.
I do think that it will be better, because it is getting to a point where, like, you know, it's not as serious to that point as it used to be. I think there's always going to be people that just don't agree with it, or they feel some type of way, or whatever the case is. But if I'm really being honest with you, I've always felt that, you said 10, 20 years? What did you say?
Yeah.
Like, just to say?
Yeah, kind of like...
I give it 5 years before Hispanics, blacks, LGBT, Asian are, like, running the world. Like, it's, whatever way you want to put it, that's exactly what is going to happen. And I don't know, I feel like it might make people think, like, why did we ever go against them? Why did we ever feel some type of way? Like, I don't know, at the end of the day, like, everyone's human. We're all part of this simulation, and we just gotta make with what we do on this, you know, on this earth. And I just feel like 10, 20 years, it's just not gonna be a big deal. But I personally feel that it should have never been a big deal. And I don't really care to understand why you thought it was a big deal, because why put that time and energy into something that, honestly, I don't really give a fuck. It's that person within themselves, you know?
Fun stuff. Reality TV. Tell me more about that. Why do you want to do reality TV?
Honestly, I feel like reality TV is about social experiments. And for some reason, as blessed as I am with the life that I've grown up with and everything, for some reason, I think not always, but I think a lot about just, like, take me out of my element. Like, how am I going to act? What am I going to say? What's going to happen? And I feel like that's exactly what reality TV is, because so many people that have been on reality TV, they speak about, like, you have to understand that, like, that is not who I am on a daily basis. I was taken out of my element and I had to just adapt to whatever is going on. And I feel like I want an experience like that. I want to know, like, If you take me out of my element, what am I going to act like? What am I going to do? You know, whatever the case is. Reality TV is known as trashy TV. And I feel that I can make good TV and I can make people laugh and I can make people just tune in and just see that, you know, another person out there is just being real, and I hope it's entertainment for you guys, and I had fun being on this side and getting some sort of money like out of it, you know.
Are you actively going out on casting calls for reality TV?
I haven't as of recently. I feel like it kind of like before I was like 100% like going to casting calls. There was times I would go to Cali and let me go to this casting call. There was times I would do the email interviews and stuff like that. And as of right now, I'm not really focused on that because I believe that if it's meant for me, it's going to happen. And a lot of the times I have to just believe in that and have that faith, because there's been times that I've like, and it's like I've tried really hard, and it seems like when I'm just more of myself and genuine, that's what gets me far, you know. As I mentioned before, like I just filmed for my nonprofit organization's national campaign. And one of the things that the person that organized all of this, he was like, I want you to know that from the first interview, we already had the specific people we wanted. But from the first interview, we knew that we wanted you and we had to figure out a way to have you. And that's exactly what we did. And I'm so happy that we were. And it's like, wow, like, you know, I the way he explained it to me, it was like the cast was already chosen, right? If I'm talking about reality terms, the cast was already chosen, but you had to bring this 1-2 people into it to really finalize what that was going to look like. And that to me just gave me the confidence that if something is meant for me, it's gonna reach its way to me, and I just don't need to try so hard to be on this type of show, be on this type of network. Like, it's gonna happen when it's meant to be, and I'm just sticking to that. And I feel like the perfect opportunity is gonna come eventually, and who knows, maybe it might come in my mid-30s, but I'm still searching like for that goal. Nice. You know what I mean? But I don't know, for me, like, I just think I'd be great TV, and if anything, like, they've been missing out on like somebody that's really gonna get them the views, you know. And it's like, that's not my problem. So
well, you have the personality and you have the look, so
Thank you.
I think you have a lot of potential. But okay, so let's how about you describe a show that you would like to be in? What would that show? What's the title of the show, and who will be your other cast members?
This is interesting. I know. Okay, so I think if there was a like, okay, this is gonna sound very like what, but if I could be on a show that was like Jersey Shore, pero con hispanos.
En español.
You know what I mean? Like, con hispanos, estamos en una casa, estamos viviendo una temporada. That to me is phenomenal. We're going out, we're having experiences, we have businesses, like, we're trying to make money. Like, if I had the ideal show, it would be that. It would be that, and like I'm talking about like Hispanos de everywhere. I'm talking about El Salvador, you know, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Mexico. I'm talking about like just because, again, I feel like it's an experience that nobody can take away from you. And I want that experience. And I've always wanted those types of experiences,
Wait,
you know?
are you telling me that this show does not exist?
It probably does. They just didn't get me. And that's not.
Well, that's their loss.
Que quieres que haga?
Nice.
But it probably does exist. I think that's really, you know, but if we're talking about like American TV and like, you know, I'd want to be on The Circle. I feel like I could win The Circle easy. Like, I don't know what it is, like cuando entras a esa experiencia, pero I feel like I could just win because I don't know. I feel like I've always had this inviting like energy. And I feel like if you were to look at my pictures, like you just want to tell me your life story. And the crazy thing about it is I'm going to hear it and I'm going to know every aspect of it and I'm going to respond to every aspect of it. And I just feel like I could just win because I'm genuine, you know? Honestly, if I were to go on Survivor, like I know I'd probably have to break like a bone or two and just let that be it. But I feel like I could win that too. Like my mindset is just like any show you put me on, like I can go at it and win it and make alliances and just that be that. And I would hope that any show that I would actually be on would get me to like spin-off shows or like who knows, maybe like a show just about my life and what's going on. I feel like when it comes to reality TV too, there's so much good, like it's crazy to say this because I don't think people believe, but it's crazy to say that I feel like reality TV show also gives you really good advice if you listen and if it makes sense to you. And I just feel like I'm not the best person in the world, I'm not the worst person in the world, but I feel like what I've experienced and what I've gone through and what my mouth does, it's TV and it's entertainment, and you can get really good advice, but you can also get a moment of, damn, I've been that drunk, I've done that, that's so real, and I respect it. Like, it's a balance of it all.
Yeah, no, in a way, it's reality TV.
There has to be drama. There has to be a storyline. There has to be a plot. I mean, there's so many things that go into it, you know. But I do feel like a lot of networks and shows have missed their opportunity because, look at me. You know what I mean? Like,
But, I mean, you're doing it today. You're in front of the camera, so people are gonna get to see you, and then
cheers.
they might call you. Yeah?
Cheers.
Nice. So what is the biggest challenge? What are your biggest challenges right now?
Challenges?
Yeah, in life.
I feel like, believe it or not, one of the biggest challenges I'm going through is understanding that, you know, I recently got a promotion with my nonprofit organization, and I struggle a lot. And that's another thing about why I want to be on reality TV, because I don't mind talking about what I've been through. I'm human. The fact that I wanted to be caught on camera, I shouldn't be penalized for that, because maybe people need it. And I know that on some crazy scale, reality TV or the people in it have helped me out with a lot. And maybe that's just what I really want to do on my end of things, you know? But something that I've been struggling with is really just giving myself the credit that I deserve, because I'm the type of person where it's like I could do like just something like this, right? And you send me I get sent the episode or whatever the case is, and I look at it, and instead of me pointing out the positives, I'm pointing out like I look sweaty. I don't look good. That was a weird angle. My fingers look random. And I start focusing on the negative. And I think it's just like it's always been hard for me to just give myself the credit when it's due. And stepping into the role that I'm in now, like I'm easily doing my best to, you know, wow, you did a great job. You did that. And I think it's because just growing up, like it's like I was always focused on the negative. I was always focused on what can be better, And right now, like I'm doing amazing things. I've done amazing things within these last couple of months, and very like superstar status bullshit things happening. And I feel like even though I'm struggling with it, I can say that I've done a good job and I'm proud of myself. And like, it's so hard to say that, It's so hard to sometimes just be proud of yourself, but like you have to do it, and you have to believe in yourself, and no matter what anybody says, like you have to be there for yourself. And it's been one of the hardest things for me to do, but like you live and you learn, and I don't know, like I feel like I constantly want to give advice on this, and it's just like believe in yourself and be there for yourself and figure out a way to be there for yourself. It's not easy. It's not easy at all, but it's really gonna benefit you. And even though I'm still working on that, like please, like go and do it for yourself and shit, teach me how to do it, because it's everybody has their different fights and their different challenges, and that's one of mine, and I can be honest and vulnerable about it. And I think that's really why I like to be in front of the camera. I like to go through these type of experiences, because if I can help out one person, then I've done my job. You know what I mean? Maybe that one person really needed it in that moment, and it may have been commotion or whatever the case is to 5,000 other people, but it helped that one person, and I did my job,
Yeah, no, I get it. You're your number one enemy, and it's easier to criticize other people than to do it. So you're doing it.
Thank you.
What's success? What is success to you?
Success?
Success.
Success to me it has nothing to do with money. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people go directly towards the amount of money, the stuff that you have. Success is so simple. It's happiness. It's fulfilling yourself with what you want to do. If it's a trip randomly, like let's just say beats me, Oklahoma. I don't know what the fuck is out in Oklahoma, but let me know if there's something I should really go out there for. But if that's what makes you happy, then go to fucking Oklahoma, Success is very simple when you're only listening to yourself. When you decide to listen to other people and what their definition of success is. And now this person decided to get into it, and whatever the case is, success is you, what makes you happy, and the people around you happy. That's what success is. At the end of the day, for me, my mom always taught me this. You can have 10K in your bank account, or you can have $1 in your bank account, but at the end of the day, if you did what fulfilled you and really gave you like that glitter, that smile, that natural glow, neither of those matter if you just focused on your happiness and what you had to do for that. And I'll always, that's another thing that I'll always stand on. That was one of the lessons I really took from my mom. And, every time you see my mom, like, she's happy. She's glowing. My mom, like, if you want to think I look young, wait till you see my mom. My mom is like over 60, and like honestly, she looks like she's in her 40s, healthy. Like, no one can take that smile away from her. And I think that right there just gives me the motivation of I just want to be happy, man. The world, like, I'll say it again, the world is so fucked up to the point where, like, why would I not be happy? Why would I not be trying to figure out what really fulfills me? And I don't know, sometimes I wish that my mom wasn't so nervous to like really give the people the advice and the upbringing that I had, because I wouldn't be anything without my mom. I wouldn't be anything without my mom, without her advice, without just those random conversations that we had. You know what I mean? Like,
What's your mom's name?
my mom,
Yeah.
Teresa Elizabeth Mercado.
Shout out, Teresa.
Yeah, no, I love my mom, and people that I've came into my life love my mom. Like, she's just something else, man. And I think that had a lot to do with like my upbringing, without giving too much information. My parents kind of went through a separation when I was at a young age. And same thing, right? I think I was like 7 or 8 or something, right? Like, we talked about the lottery thing. And I remember my mom like sitting me and my brother and just straight up telling us, like, look, me and your dad are like not really together right now. So that's that. And I'm going to do everything I need to do on my part to like move you guys forward. But I don't want to hear no bullshit about you guys being in trouble in school and blah, 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 and using this. Like, no, this is adult problems. So I'm letting you know this is what it is, and that's it. And I think, one, I learned that adults got problems, right? Adults aren't perfect. I think that's like initially what I got. And I just got that no matter what, like, you have to take care of yourself. No matter what happens, you don't know who and I don't want to say it like that, but sometimes you don't know, not necessarily you don't know who you're with, but sometimes like that can outgrow. And thankfully, after all this time, my parents have been together for almost, like, I want to say like 38, 39 years of marriage. And that's because, they decided to work on it and move forward. And a lot of people don't choose to do that. I really think that's like a whole fucked up thing with our generation, where it's like oh, if they're not my perfect match, like I don't want them. And it's like there's no such thing as a fucking perfect match. You're attracted to someone, they're attracted to you. 2 years down the line, do I want to work on this or do I not? I think that's really what it is. And at the end of the day, my mom taught me at a young age, like, take care of yourself, be independent, and do whatever the fuck you need to do. And, it's a positive in the sense of, like, I can be independent, but then it kind of affects me when I've been in relationships. Like, no, like, I'll handle it. Like, fuck you. Like, like those types of things. But at the end of the day, like, Mama Teresa has taught me good lessons, and this one's for her, because I wouldn't be who I am or sitting in this specific seat, as random as it is, without her. So shout out to my mom. Well, I did go to my regular job today.
Okay.
And I think it's funny because I just had a full-on training yesterday that me and my team had to prepare for. And I feel like all day today it was about getting the feedback of that training. But at the same time, like, just realizing that, I'm really in a good, I'm really in a good position in my life. And it wasn't easy to get to this point. There was so much work and emotions and transitions. And
You mentioned you just got a promotion, right?
I did.
Okay,
Yes.
so tell me, what did you have to go through? How hard was it?
With my promotion, you know what? I'm gonna give you guys the exclusive. Wow. Give me a second. Give me
What
quick
do you
second.
need? You
No.
need anything?
I just need a drink because I haven't really talked about this, and I think it's needed, and I hope it serves as, hang on, let me hide this again. I think it serves as motivation and just understanding that it might not go the way that you want it to, but it went the way that it needed to. And, I think this has to do with my faith. And, whatever's meant for you, like, God is not going to block that blessing. So, when it came to this promotion, I felt like I was a shoo-in. I felt like I did so many things that prove that I can be in this position. So I'm on my way back I went to Cancun in May for my cousin's wedding. All right. Love her. Shout outs. Beautiful. I believe in that couple, and I don't believe in a lot of couples, so let's give it to them. And I'm on my way back, and I get the call that I didn't get the position. And I didn't, like, my mind went everywhere. It was like, I didn't do what I needed to do. I wasn't good enough. I did all this for nothing. And, just every type of emotion. So, let me paint it to you like this. I went to Cancun from May 1st to May 8th. I come back, and then I have a field trip May 10th to take my students, right? I work at a school at this point. to take my students out of the state to Knott's Berry Farm and I think it was like USC Fullerton or some shit like that. I can't remember at this point. So I come back with that news. I land. Like, I'm talking about I was boarding on my plane when I got this news. I'm crying. And at the end of the day, I don't know who the fuck tries to say that I don't cry, I'm not emotional. Stop fucking lying to yourself, bitch. Like, beyond me, everyone fucking, like, it is literally like crying. I don't know if you guys have watched Inside Out 1 or 2, but crying is literally a part of being a human being. And you motherfuckers that say, oh, I don't cry, bitch, stop playing with me because there's no way. But pretty much I'm just going through it, right? Trying to just board on this plane on top of that. I'm just trying to get home. I've been away from home for like 6-7 days. I'm tired of it. You know, like when you're on vacation, you get like if you've been there long enough, you get tired of it. I don't give a fuck if it's Cancun and it was all inclusive. You get tired of it. So I get home and believe it or not, I have to go on this field trip out of state with this specific person that told me you didn't get the job. So I have to go through all that. And I'm talking about like just a short amount of time. There's so many like, you know, there's so many emotions. Like, you know, there so many times I can tell myself in the mirror like you're a fucking baddie, and at the end of the day it happened for a reason and whatever the case is. So I have a discussion with this person a day before the field trip, which is like the Thursday. I get there Wednesday. I go back to work on Thursday. I have a meeting with this person. The field trip is like 4 a.m. the next day. I'm a busy person. It's this and then it's that and then it's the other thing. So I have that conversation with the person, and I want to say that it comes down to perspective, because I didn't go into that meeting like, why didn't you choose me? And like, you're the problem and blah, 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 right? No, I went into that meeting like, tell me what I need to know, because at the end of the day, you're not going to stop me from my growth. I'm going to continue. Maybe I didn't get this position, but I'm going to continue to do what I need to do in order to grow. Because that's how I see like success for myself. Whatever. The field trip happens. Everything's fine. There's no tension. We've already had a discussion about it. Like, I'm really not the type of person that is just going to leave something like lingering around. We have the discussion. This is now like May 10th, May 11th, right? Like after the field trip. My student's graduation was either like May 23rd or May 24th or something like that. The graduation happens the following day. I'm going to Walmart because I got to get some shit, right? And I park in, one of the spots or whatever. And, I don't know. I feel like you got to prepare before you go into a store. It's weird. It might be my anxiety, but like, you just like, I don't know. A store is weird. So I'm just sitting in my car, whatever. And like, this person texts me. I don't have any animosity towards them because we had a whole discussion. They gave me the feedback. It was T. We're moving forward. And they call me and they kind of tell me like, hey, so on the back end, I finally got this approved and the position is yours if you want it. And I was like, wait, what? Like, it's a little confusing, right? And at this point, I wanted the behind the scenes of everything. Like, I was just like, no. So, pretty much, I was in Palm Springs, right? They told me the news. I'm going to Palm Springs like 4 or 5 hours later. Going with my man, I'm going with my bitches, people that they invited. We're gonna have it's a whole experience. And the time that we took to drive, I decided that I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it. Maybe it's not the pay that I might have asked for. Really close enough though, right? And it was just like I needed something new. I needed, my other job, I knew it from the back of my hand. That's why the fuck, all that. So I decided I'm gonna take the position, and honestly, sitting here right now, it was one of the best decisions that I could make to continue on my growth and be a better version of myself. If I would have stayed in the other position that I already knew what to do, I'm diminishing my growth, and why would I do that? You know what I mean? So that's the story on my promotion. It didn't go the way that I thought it was going to, but again, it went the way that I needed it to, and maybe that little scare or whatever the case is really, brought it out of me or whatever. But again, what's meant for you is meant for you, and this position that I'm in now was meant for me. It was meant for the person that I'm sharing this position with. Yeah. Yeah, we ended up both getting it, and honestly, it's been a short amount of time, but you can kind of tell what the vibes are pretty quick on, and we have been amazing together, and that's why I have to give her a shout out. If she sees this, she's gonna be like, you know what I mean? Just so I have to give her a shout out. She knows who she is. I didn't get permission on her name, but she knows who she is. And when she sees this episode, she knows it's going to be about her. So
That's awesome.
it is what it is. But it, again, it just whatever is meant for you is going to happen for you. And I think that also taught me that when it came to me wanting to be on reality TV, if they want me, they want me, and if they don't, they don't. And if it's a perfect fit, then it's a perfect fit. And that's just what it, it's just that's just what it comes down to. So.
So you're liking your new position?
I'm liking.
What's different from what you used to do?
I'm liking my new position because it is helping me grow a lot. But I think something I'm gonna miss about my old position was being able to talk to students and connect with students. And I feel like the genuine person heart that I have, that's gonna be very tough for me. But other than that, you gotta be a little uncomfortable to grow. And that's exactly where I'm at. I love the position I'm in. It is a little uncomfortable. It is a little different, but that's how you grow. And I think something that I keep in my mind is don't diminish your growth. Don't stay comfortable. Don't just stay in this thing because you know what to do. My personality, I gotta go out there and just be different, or I don't know what the case is, but the minute I feel uncomfortable, I know I'm in the right spot.
Gotcha. Can you talk about the conversations you had with these students? What are their main concerns and questions?
I think when it comes to my students, they ask how do I do this? How do I get into this job? Right? Or how do I get into this school? That's general, right? It is what it is. My favorite conversations with the students have been, what's your advice on this? And how should I go about this? And how should I feel about this person? And to me, it's just kind of like, oh my God, I'm literally like a parent to you guys without even trying or without even noticing or whatever the case is. And I feel like those have been some of the best conversations I've ever had. Like them just being honest about what they're going through. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, I think any student in general goes through a lot. And I've just been happy that I've been there to hear and grasp the conversations that they might have not told anybody else. And I was that one person, and I was able to be there for them, and I was able to guide them. And sometimes I feel like on my part, like no one's ever noticed like the pressure that comes with that. But I deal with that pressure on my own because at the end of the day, like I want to and choose to be there for them. And my personal opinion or whatever I'm going through goes out the window because I need to show them that there's hope. There's more to getting out of this whole thing and moving forward. And it's a hard position to be in, but only a certain few are in that position, and only a few are in that position because they needed to. And sometimes it is a little difficult for me, but I know that I was placed in that position for a certain reason, and I have to respect it, and I have to move forward with it. The job isn't, when you are talking to humans and helping humans, students, helping them through their journey, it's kind of crazy because you're still going through your own journey, and you want the advice to be top notch, and sometimes it's not going to be, but the meaningful relationships and conversations that you hold with these students, like, it means the world to me. You know what I mean? And it, like as I'm showing right now, it comes with so many emotions, and I don't think they understand that, but they don't need to understand that. They're students. They're children. And I never really let this side show to my students because what they're going through and what they're tackling is more important than what I'm going through. You know what I mean? And it's just not an easy field to be in, and it's not for the weak. And anybody that steps into our shoes, like, what you go through. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's a lot. You know what I mean?
Did you sometimes feel like they were able to tell you things that they wouldn't have told their own parents?
Oh my God, all the time. All the time.
And why do you think that is?
Because I'm listening to them. I'm understanding that they are at this age and they go through these types of things. And as a parent, I think sometimes it's a little bit difficult to grasp, like, my little boy, my little girl is growing up and they're going through like these different things. And I mean, when you are, I believe when you are a student, you really need to find that one person and that one adult that you can confide in and you can talk to. And I think that was one of my purposes, to doing this job, where I want you to trust me and confide in me. You know what I mean? And, I don't ever want to blame parents for doing their best or doing, like doing what they can do and everything like that, because I can't sit here and act like I have a child of my own. You know what I mean? And it's like hard, and that within itself is so many like emotions, and any little kid is gonna think like they just have it all together, the same way that I thought about my parents. But in the reality, no, adults are just adults, and they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure it out one step at a time. But I feel like the reason why they can talk to me and confide in me is because I don't judge, and I make that very clear to them that I don't judge. I don't care if you've been in jail 5 times. I'm gonna ask you, like, well, why'd you get locked up the last time, or whatever the case is. I think, sometimes, like, whether it's our students, whether it's like human beings, whatever the case is, just fucking listen, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's already, if you yourself as an adult or whatever over the ages, if you know that it's tough, the world or whatever is tough for you, you know that the world is tough for them. And there's no excuse for the world to be tough to you and then ignore them or whatever the case is. Like, just be fucking honest with them. Like, I think a lot of the times parents wanna like put on this persona of, oh, I understand and this and that and blah blah blah, and they should respect me and this and that. But it's like, if you were to just be honest with your kids and let them know, like, you don't fucking have it figured out and you're doing the best thing that you can, the same way that they are, you're gonna have a better relationship with your kid. I mean, my best advice is, like, dude, listen to your kid, understand that they're not little kids anymore. They're teenagers. They're about to go into adults, whatever the case is. Like, try to be there for him. Try to be there for them. And that's really all I can say on students and like the different relationships that I have like had with them. It's not easy, and it should be able, through this you should be able to see that, even me being vulnerable and knowing that I couldn't always be my full self around them, but I'm doing my best to keep it together or whatever the case is. And there has been moments where I show my students, like, I'm human, and it's more about that. You have to show people you are human, and you know you're going through the same experience or whatever the case is than anybody else. You know what I mean?
I think this is a great way to end it. So again, as a routine of the show, I would love for you to share your advice with the world, if you wouldn't mind looking directly at this camera and just give me the best.
The best advice I can give out to the world is stop focusing on what people think about you and start focusing on what you think about yourself. At the end of the day, you don't have to explain a damn thing to anybody else except yourself, and if it makes sense to you, run with it. And with that, if you have at least got one thing out of this entire episode, then I've done my job.